STAIR far exceeds any training that I've done.
I don't think I knew what I was missing.
If there's one method that I want clinicians to know now, it's this method. I feel like it's the missing link that I didn't have in my 20 years in this career.
The STAIR training really transformed my practice overall.
STAIR has really helped me really redefine what my job is as a therapist.
I truly believe that the STAIR method is a training that all therapists need. It feels foundational because it has such a big emphasis on the therapist's relationship with themselves.
It's helped organize the things that I know how to do in a really intentional way.
When I'm with my people, with my clients, I find that I'm bringing my whole self to my work.
I'm a 30-plus year clinician. This has changed my work in ways I would have never thought of.
The STAIR model has helped me organize when I'm going to use my somatic experiencing skills, or when I'm going to use expressive arts or sand tray therapy or parts work. I now have a sense of where those are needed in my treatment planning. As an intuitive therapist, which is what I have been, it's been super helpful for me to have a little bit more organization or a little bit more of a sense of why I'm doing what I am doing in the moment.
It helps you put all the models you've been trained in together in a more cohesive whole to better utilize them.
It's helped me to really be in my integrity and my values as a therapist and a human.
The co-creation was a word I'd never even heard of until Jules and STAIRs. And I love that concept. I give my theories and they say yes or no. And I love hearing they're like, no, Vicki, that doesn't really resonate. Okay, chuck that idea. Like, don't hold on to it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
That ability to invite pushback, that ability to say, oh, I'm offering this, but you may not agree with it, really shifted a lot.
I don't have to be trying to fit a client to a protocol, that they can just show up as themselves, and I can still have a framework for what's happening in the back of my mind.
STAIR has helped me with my stuck clients. It's helped me personally and them.
I'm more resilient and I trust myself a lot more. And I know that this is an ongoing journey. And in a way, I'm more okay with that.
What I've really enjoyed about the online courses of the STAIR method is that I think they support neurodiverse brains because of the way Jules teaches. She offers a lot of experiential drop-ins, but also has really incredible handouts and takes her time communing with the group and answering questions and just being with. It's just become like a resource hub for me because I can always go back and look back. If I want to deepen into a particular work inside the STAIR method or deepen into a principle, I can go back and let it seep deeper into my bones.
It was sort of a perfect sandwich because there was, I think, the combination of the teaching and then examples of tape woven in consistently of seeing the concept in real time. Super helpful. It's so rare that we get to see inside the room of like what's actually happening between a therapist and client. So Jules's ability and willingness to demonstrate the concept in a real session was super helpful. In every interaction in the live call that Jules had with someone either raising a question online, coming on the camera, she was embodying the principles, even in the context of teaching. There was never any time where it was like, here we're learning, now we're doing. It was all sort of interwoven throughout.
The material that Jules presents there's a lot of science to it. It can be really dense material. The online format, the pacing, being able to have the videos to go back into, to have the deliberate practices to work with. It really just kind of outlined it in a way that really builds layer upon layer of, oh yeah, this is the model we're building. It's like, this is how the brain works, and this is how change happens, and this is how you're with yourself. And then these are all the things you can practice.
Therapists are trained just by teaching theory again and again and again. And that would be kind of like asking a musician, we're not going to let you play an instrument. We're just going to teach you music theory, but you're not actually ever going to play an instrument. And then sending them out and being like, okay, now go perform. And by focusing and putting a lot of emphasis on deliberate practice, she's allowing us to play the instrument in low stakes, in ways that we can observe, so that we can get better. And the research is clear that it is helpful for people to do it this way. And I really appreciate Jules's emphasis on how adults learn so that we can get better and it's not setting us up for failure.
I use deliberate practice ever since I started with STAIR. And absolutely, I think it's, there's a part of me that hates it. But it's also the part that probably embeds the change for my brain to make and makes that more of a sustainable change.
When I can use the principles of STAIR, and especially trusting my client's system, and I can stay with them long enough with the thing that they really need to be with. I have gone into some deep holes with clients, or that's what it seems like. And in the past, every part of me would have said, no, get out of this hole. Don't let them believe what they're believing about themselves. And I'll never forget the first time that I did just trust their system, that this was something that they needed to be with. That was, in my opinion, just really not true and wrong. The next time they came in, they said to me, I think that's the first time I've ever known that what I was feeling was real. And that was huge. And it's created a lot of growth in at least this particular client and my work together. But that has happened in so many ways. Like, if I can get out of my way and really trust my client's system, really interesting things happen that I could never have imagined.
I'm witnessing them trust themselves more. I'm witnessing them have a deeper faith in their ability to get through hard things. I'm witnessing them building relationships in their lives that hold and support them and allow for their authentic self to come through. I'm witnessing more belonging happening in their life. And I'm witnessing a lot more acceptance of themselves and their needs and wants come through. And that was a huge struggle for them before. It was something that they didn't have access to, there wasn't space for when they were growing up. There's a lot more okayness in their nervous system. And that doesn't mean that there's not hard things that are happening in their lives. And when those hard things happen, their ability to be present with it and be present with themselves and not lose contact with themselves and trust that they can work through it and then work through it and be cool with how they worked through it. That's all amplified.
So one of the things that STAIR looks at is something called memory reconsolidation. And there's a practicality of how to work with that. The idea is that if in fact that occurs, like the client doesn't really, they don't really go back to that place anymore. And I had this client and we were working on it. His mother was very physically abusive. And he had, of course, made a bunch of decisions and stories about that as a kid, about what was wrong with him. And we had gone through this memory reconsolidation and nothing really happened at the moment. But like about 5 minutes later, he went, wait a minute, you mean that wasn't okay? She did that? I'm like, yes, that's what I mean. And interestingly, it hasn't ever come up again. It was just like, it was like this moment, and it was kind of like, whoop, the whole thing changed. Mm-hmm.
As a person who works with a lot of really complex trauma, a lot of dissociative disorders, neurodivergence, populations of people who have been given the message that therapy isn't for them in some way because their minds don't fit the model. STAIR's really helped me find ways to reflect back what's happening in a way where they can start to watch the minds that they do have, and they can report back, I did feel different this week. Like, oh, I noticed that process that we were talking about, when maybe that's the first time they actually slowed down to see that, like, they can witness what's happening inside and not be in this like constant sense of not safe in the world, or like having to try to be someone else in the world. That this model really is for every type of mind.
Before, there was so much pressure I put on myself, and I think like just kind of society does in general for therapists, like you have to heal them. And now it's like, oh, here's a wonderful way to go towards healing. Here's whatever yours looks like, but I don't have to make that happen.
The reason that I would say do STAIR is because it is going to make this hard job easier. It's really hard to do something that's impossible to do. Like if I got on the roof and I tried to fly, there would be 100% chance of failure. And if I walk into the room and I think I'm going to get somebody to change, and if they change, I'm good, there's 100% chance of failure. Having that kind of off the table has made the job just more joyful, more creative, easier, lighter, more of an honor than a responsibility.
It's a respectful model to the clients, to what they know. It's a respectful model to how the brain works. And it's a respectful model to us as therapists and what we can know and what we can't. We're being deeply respectful of us, of our clients, so that healing can happen without any kind of coercion.
Like, I just want everybody, all therapists to train in this modality. It really does help to kind of like shift the way that we're doing therapy. If they just do STAIR 1 and they don't continue through anything else, there's so much just in that.
If you are on the fence about it at all, I would say take the leap. It's worth it.
There has not been another training that I have done that holds me as well as the STAIR training does.
What I have found with STAIR is that while standing on these principles of brain change that Jules teaches, and skills like boundaries and relational skills that I can teach, STAIR also invites me to access something deeper than that. It helps me to access my humanity.
Because of STAIR, I can really exist and rest in a place of gratitude and belonging when I'm with my clients.